Now is the time to find out the services which are listening to those ports and the version of those services. In addition, let's detect the operating systems running on those systems. Suppose that you ran an Nmap query and it told you that ports 25 TCP, 80 TCP, and 53 UDP are open. Using its Nmap services database of about 2,200 well-known services, Nmap would report that those ports probably correspond to a mail server, SMTP, web server, HTTP, and name server, DNS, respectively. This lookup is usually accurate. The vast majority of daemons listening on TCP port 25 are, in fact, mail servers. However, you should not bet your security on this. People can and do run services on strange ports. Even if Nmap is right, and the hypothetical server above is running SMTP, HTTP, and DNS servers, that is not a lot of information. When doing vulnerability assessments, or even simple network inventories of your companies or clients, you really want to know which mail and DNS servers and versions are running. Having an accurate version number helps dramatically in determining which exploits a server is vulnerable to, and version detection helps you obtain this information. After TCP and/or UDP ports are discovered using one of the other scan methods, version detection interrogates those ports to determine more about what is actually running. The Nmap Service Probes database contains probes for querying various services and match expressions to recognize and parse responses. Nmap tries to determine the service protocol, for example, FTP, SSH, Telnet, HTTP. The application name could be ISC bind, Apache HTTPD, Solaris Telnet-D. The version number, host name, device type, something like a printer or a router, and the OS family. You know what that is, Windows, Linux, etc. So let's see how to use service and version detection in Nmap and why it's important. Okay, go to Kali and open a new terminal window. Let's create the Nmap scan command. Nmap is the command itself. N is to avoid the DNS resolution. Uppercase PN is to avoid the host discovery. I'm using the SYNSCAN this time. I write the destination IP, which is the IP address of my Metasploitable VM, and the destination ports, the top 10 ports. Let's run this command first to see the results of a command without version detection. Now, I open a new terminal window to create a new Nmap command. I prepared the command with the same configuration. SYNSCAN, Metasploitable, and top 10 ports. I add S uppercase V parameter for version detection and hit Enter. As you see, the query takes longer this time. The SYNSCAN without the version detection took less than a second, and the SYNSCAN with version detection took about 12 seconds. In the first query, service names are estimated by Nmap according to the default services running on those ports. In the second query, on the other hand, Nmap probed the ports to determine more about what is actually running. Now, I want to show you the most important reason of using version detection in Nmap queries. In Kali, I'm going to run SSH on port 443 and then scan the port with Nmap. Let's perform the demo together. First, look at the listening services if SSH is running. Netstat, TNLP. SSH is running on port 22 at the moment. Type service SSH stop to stop SSH service and hit Enter. Now, to change the port of SSH, we're going to change the configuration. Open the sshd_config file with a text editor to change it. I use Nano text editor for this purpose. Type nano/etc/ssh/sshd_config and hit Enter. Find the port line, delete the sharp to make it a valid configuration line. The sharp was used to make it a comment line. Change the port number to 443. Control X to exit Nano, Y to save changes, and hit Enter to save over the existing file. Start SSH again using the service SSH start command. Look at the listening ports to double-check netstat TNLP. SSH service is running on port 443 now. Let's scan port 443 of Kali with Nmap. Prepare the Nmap SynScan command. No version detection for this query. Nmap detects that the port is open. Look at the service. Nmap says the service is HTTPS. Using its Nmap services database, Nmap reported that this port probably corresponds to a web server for HTTPS, and we know that's not true. So let's prepare the Nmap SynScan again, but this time use S_V parameter to run the version detection mechanism. Now, as you see, port 443 is running and the service is SSH, not HTTPS. Version detection interrogated the port to determine more about what is actually running. Nmap queried the port using the probes of the Nmap service probes database and matched expressions to recognize and parse responses. And the version of SSH is OpenSSH version 7.6p1. So, if you are not 100% sure about the type of the running service on a port, run version detection. Got it? Good.